Kia ora, Walter here from Screen Grab, and I'm sure you've had to deal with anxiety in your life at some point. You may even have something coming up right now that you're nervous about, whether it's presenting to a group, presenting on camera, meeting with someone, asking something of someone, maybe you want to do something crazy in extreme sports, whatever it is, there's things that can really build up anxiety inside us. Now here's something cool that I've been learning and have been applying in my life to help me overcome anxiety and turn it into excitement. So that means that if you've got a big speech coming up or whatever and you're feeling anxious, let's take that anxiousness and turn it into excitement. Okay, so here's an example I got from Simon Sinek. A couple of years ago at the Olympics, there was a journalist going around and interviewing all the athletes from track and field. And they had just been in a race and they were, in the zone still like that. And that's how they're in the zone. And the journalist was interviewing them and saying, hey, were you nervous? Are you feeling nervous? And the athletes would say every time, no, I feel excited. And so they'd go and ask the next person, are you nervous? Were you nervous? And they would say, no, I'm excited. And what had happened is these athletes had trained themselves to identify anxiousness with excitement. Because the journalist, they asked the athletes if they were nervous because the journalist would have been nervous in their situation. But the athletes, of course, interpret that feeling as excitement. Now, here's the cool thing. Your body reacts the same whether it's anxious or excited. What are the symptoms of anxiousness? Your heart's pumping, your hands get clammy, you're visualizing the future, and it doesn't look good either when you're anxious. But when you're excited, your heart's pumping, your hands are clammy and sweaty, but you're visualizing the future in a great way. Okay? So they're exactly the same thing. It's just the story that you tell yourself. So when you're anxious and you're visualizing all the things that could go wrong and the big car crash of the situation that could possibly happen, instead, if you can just change the thoughts that you're having and instead start thinking, what are the good things that could come of this? If I get this right, what kind of opportunity does this mean for me? Then you're going to start to feel more excited about it because you're already in that state. And it's much easier to go from a state of anxiousness to excitement than it is to go from anxiousness to calm. Or so I've read anyway. And that makes sense to me. If you're already in kind of that state of almost fight or flight and you can just change your mind and go straight over to excitement, that makes total sense. In fact, it's really worked for me in my life. For example, I've been on an aeroplane and we've been flying up in the sky and the pilot has said, we're going to experience some turbulence, and all of a sudden the plane starts going, and what I've said to myself is, oh, this is exciting. And I've told myself the story that, the pilot's got everything under control, they've been through turbulence before, we're going to get through this just fine, enjoy the thrill. Meanwhile, I look around the airplane and other people are freaking out, buckling up and panicking because they're in a state of anxiousness. Another example. Recently, I was out on my BMX bike and I've been wanting to do a backflip over a jump. And I've wanted to do this for ages because it's been a little while. And I was very, very anxious about it. We're at the skate bowl. My mates Lulu and Alex were there and they saw me feeling very anxious and I was visualizing myself, crashing and landing upside down, going to hospital and all that, breaking my bones. But my friends, there's a fly, Lulu and Alex were encouraging me and telling me that I can do it. And it started helping me visualize myself actually landing the trick. And this is how powerful it is. So I started to visualize myself. I was quite anxious, but it turned into excitement and I started to see myself landing the trick. So I pedaled along, hit the jump, did a huge backflip, landed it clean without a scratch and was just absolutely wrapped. But if I had have gone up that ramp, imagining myself crashing the whole time, what do you think is going to happen? It's far more likely that I'm going to have a crash. So if you've got something coming up and you can't get out of it, why not just flick the switch and start visualizing things going right and start to get excited about them rather than those overwhelming thoughts of anxiety, give it a crack, okay? I feel like it's going to help you become a whole bunch more enthusiastic about what's in store for you. You know, we can't control the future unless we grab hold of it and actually try and control it, if that makes any sense. So thanks so much for watching. Hope that helps. Remember to turn your anxiety into excitement through changing the thoughts that you have.